In this video, I'm going to walk through the 5 retirement wealth levels. Your level determines your entire retirement experience. So it's important to understand where you fall on the spectrum and how you can move up a level before you retire. Through working with countless retirees across almost all of these levels, I've discovered it's not just about the numbers, it's about knowing what your daily life in retirement will actually look like. And this is really what determines retirement happiness. So that's why I'm making this video today, to show you these 5 retirement wealth levels, what your life looks like by level, and how to figure out where you stand so you can plan before you make the leap into retirement. By the way, I'm Rachel Camp, and I am a CFP professional and the founder of Camp Wealth, and we help people confidently retire before age 65. So let's get right into it. The first level is the lower middle class retirement. This level requires you to stick to a very strict budget. Every decision, from groceries to gifts to grandkids, will require careful thought and planning. Some pre-retirees are diligent trackers of their spending and are already used to sticking to a budget, so this level may not be too different from their working life. But there are major risks at this level you need to be aware of. At this level, you are more susceptible to sequence of returns risk. While retiring into a bad market is bad news for everyone, it's especially bad news if you're already walking on a tightrope in retirement. The key to surviving sequence of returns risk is cutting back on spending so your portfolio remains solvent and you have enough time to make it to the eventual market recovery. For those who cannot cut spending, a down market could decimate retirement savings and leave nothing behind. What we see happens at this level is a portfolio balance can drop to $0 and the retiree becomes 100% reliant on Social Security and their children if they have them. Another major risk is any unexpected expense outside of their regular budget. A new roof, major car repair, or illness could seriously disrupt, if not entirely destroy, a retirement portfolio at this level. The key trait at this level is rigidity. There is no cushion or room for something to go wrong. And if you watch any of my videos, you know I constantly say flexibility is the key to a strong retirement. So the net worth range at this level is anywhere from 0 to 400K, while the lower middle class level requires careful budgeting, leaves very little wiggle room. The solidly middle class level provides much needed breathing room. So level 2 is the solid middle class retirement. Early in my career, I worked with a couple in their late 60s who retired at this level. They could afford some travel and gifts to grandkids, but every trip had to be budgeted and prepared for in advance. No spontaneous trips, no splurging on major items. I find many people in the Midwest experience this type of retirement and live very comfortable lives. They're able to make it work because they live in a low cost of living area, a paid-off house, and enjoy modest travel. So the net worth at this level ranges from 400K to 1.2 million. A key trait at this level is that retirees finally have some cushion built in, and they're not just covering their essential expenses, but they now have room for lifestyle wants. It's nothing major, it's nothing lavish, but a few trips a year and some spending room for hobbies and going out to eat. And again, for many retirees, retiring at this level, it can be very similar lifestyle to their working lives. One of the best traits here compared to level 1 is they now have protection against sequence of returns risk. They have room to cut spending when needed. I encourage almost everyone to at least get to this level before retiring so you're not stressed about covering your essential expenses, that your housing, food, utilities, the things you need to survive. Now, the makeup of your net worth is key here, and we'll talk about that at the end of this video when we discuss moving up levels. But there is a difference between being paper rich and retirement rich, and you want the latter. Now, while solidly middle class wealth provides comfort, the upper middle class level creates genuine financial confidence. So level 3 is upper middle class retirement. At this level, you have an elevated financial freedom. For many people picturing their ideal retirement, this is the level they aspire to. This level gives plenty of room beyond the basic expenses and lets you live out your dream retirement. Frequent travel, international trips, splurging on your hobbies, spoiling your grandkids, that's all found at this level. My favorite trait in this level is that you get to throw out the budget. Many people I work with want to spend how they do in their working years, and they tell me, Rachel, we don't follow a budget. I don't know how to. And honestly, the idea that I have to ask myself, can I afford this before I purchase anything sounds really stressful to me. They want the freedom to spend like they did in their working years. And while there's obvious limitations to that, this level allows you the same freedom that you had while you were working. So if you're in the fitness world at all, you might hear this idea called intuitive eating. So while you have some fitness fanatics track every calorie and macro and weigh their food, you have other very healthy people who eat based on their body's cues and paying attention to how food makes them feel. That's kind of how I see intuitive budgeting. You kind of have to earn your way to intuitive budgeting to make sure that you were saving enough while you were working and know within the range of which you can spend. It's really exhausting to track every dollar, but if you can spend like you were in your working years, you know when you're over and underspending. Well, of course, this really depends on how much you're spending. We typically see net worth at this level between 1.2 million to 3.9 million. While this level is a tremendous accomplishment, the next level represents a level of independence of the top 10%. Level 4 is affluent retirement level, and this is complete financial independence. Only the top 10% achieve this level. So this level is primarily made up of former executives, professionals, and some small business owners. There's truly no rational concern at this level. These retirees can afford very lavish lifestyles if they wish to. I say can instead of do, because even at this level of wealth, I see retirees all the time still suffering from financial scarcity, and this causes them to underspend to live well below their means. And if that happens, the wealth is just passed on to the next generation, where we hope that they have also passed on strong financial habits. Now, the focus at this level really shifts to impact, family legacy, and charitable gifting. At this level, we start to ask questions like, does my money reflect my values? What is the legacy that I want to leave behind? So net worth range at this level is between 4 to 20 million. From the financial side, asset management becomes critical. Diversification and tax optimization are major areas of focus here. On the spending side, you may see second home or second homes and upgraded travel as well as expensive hobbies. Now, while affluent wealth provides complete freedom, the very top of the ladder is reserved for the top 1%. This represents truly exceptional financial achievement. Level 5 is the 1% ultra wealthy retirement. This level almost transcends any discussion around your standard retirement practices. We're not so focused on Roth conversions or tax efficient withdrawal strategies. We have shifted into far more advanced strategies to solve problems only the top 1% are fortunate to have. This level has a net worth greater than 20 million, and the focus here is on advanced estate planning, risk management, and complex tax strategy. It obviously transcends any discussion of budgeting and lifestyle. At this level, the individual will likely have a fully built out professional team managing their wealth. While level 4 may start to talk about donor advised funds, level 5 is going to talk about family foundations. Now that you understand all 5 wealth levels, let's look at how you can identify your current position and create strategies to move up. Now, first, we have to start by looking at your net worth, of course. If you are unfamiliar on how to calculate, I'll give you a quick formula here. What you do is add up all of your assets, so all of your investment accounts, vehicles, home, anything really of value that you own. And then you will subtract from that your liabilities. So this is any debt, right? So student loans, mortgage, outstanding credit card debt. The net of those numbers is your net worth. Now, because the focus here is on retirement, I like to actually create a second net worth, which I think is more informative of your retirement lifestyle. The second net worth is going to exclude any assets that cannot generate income or are illiquid. While yes, your home and your vehicles are assets, they are unlikely to be able to create income for you in retirement. So to land on a more accurate number, we will only include assets that can translate to retirement income. For most people, this is going to be their investable assets, which will include bank accounts, brokerage accounts, and all retirement accounts. Now, while we were walking through the 5 different wealth levels, I was mentioning the net worth range of each level. This is accurate if you are close to retirement, but if you're not, then you need a better metric of where you stand. Now, one of my favorites is this net worth by age calculator. It's created by Nick Majuli. In fact, Nick is the big inspiration behind this video. He recently wrote a great book called The Wealth Ladder. Highly recommend, no matter what level of wealth you're starting at. Now, back to his calculator. What you can do here is enter your age range and find your net worth percentile. This is a really quick and easy way to see how you're doing compared to your peers. So now that you know where you land, let's talk about moving up the wealth levels. First off, depends where you're starting. But if you're starting at the very bottom level, the focus really has to be on expense tracking. At this level, almost every dollar counts for increasing the margin of what you're bringing in or income and what's going out or expenses. Once you have a safety cushion, you can start to look at increasing that top number, income. Your expenses, of course, can only decrease so much, but there's no limit to the income side. So personally, that's where I like to spend the majority of my time focused on. Depending on where you are in your career, you can invest in additional education or certifications, You can remain an active job seeker and position yourself for better opportunities. But as you move up in wealth levels, you start to really think of the investment side. Most people at level 2 or 3 may actually just be rich on paper, but not in retirement income. At level 2 and 3, you see many people cite their homes as their largest asset. This can be misleading to the actual quality of retirement you will experience because, as we discussed, there's no way for your primary residence to create income for you outside of some advanced, probably invasive strategies. So when you think about moving up the wealth levels, consider the quality of assets you're investing in and if they can lead to spending for you. Some of the biggest risks you'll see in level 2 and 3 is overspending in low quality, expensive assets. This is your home, your vehicles primarily. It's all the things we do to keep up with the Joneses. Because if you want to get to the top of level 3 and beyond, you need to invest in income producing assets. This is the key characteristic of those in the top percentage of wealth. Not all assets are created equal. And at the lower levels of wealth, levels 1 and 2, the primary assets are cash, vehicles, and their home. At the higher levels, levels 3 to 4, their largest asset held tends to be in stocks and mutual funds. And at the very highest level, level 5, their largest asset tends to be a business they own, its ownership, whether through stock or private ownership. So while the leap from the lower levels, so we'll say medium to high levels, means shifting more of your discretionary income into stocks, the highest level really requires quite a bit more risk and a strong skill set and a desire to be an entrepreneur. For some people, they will prefer to stay a W-2 employee and increase their earnings potential as much as they can and invest the difference. For others who would like more control over their income and want to have no cap on their earnings, they might venture into entrepreneurship because outside of inherited wealth or winning the lottery, it's the only way to get to the top level. Climbing levels depends on where you are starting and your time horizon. In your 20s and 30s, and really even 40s, every level is available to you, and it's up to you how much work and risk you want to take on to get to your highest level. Because despite what you might see on social media, successful entrepreneurs are actually much more likely to be middle-aged instead of young. For the top 0.1% of fastest growing new businesses in the US, the average age of the founder in the business first year was age 45. Now, as you near retirement, you may just be focusing on increasing to that next level, not necessarily the highest level. This may mean being more aggressive on the saving side, downsizing your home so you can invest more in income-producing assets, or just delaying your retirement to a later date. That might be the only solution. Now that you understand the 5 retirement wealth levels and what each tier means for your daily life and long-term security, you can accurately assess your position and develop strategies to improve your retirement reality. Now, if you want help in determining your exact level, creating a plan to advance to that next tier, click the link below to book a call. We'll see if we're a good fit in working together. I'll see you then next one.